Hey, we are in Job chapters 30, 31, 32. As we've kind of talked about before, Job feels he's humiliated. We're going to see in chapter 30, he says he's making fun of by guys who before all this happened he wouldn't even trusted his dogs to. He's just completely flabbergasted about why things are happening the way they are, and he's humiliated. He's embarrassed for the state that he finds himself. So let's begin reading in chapter 30. Young people now insult me, although their fathers would have been a disgrace to my sheepdogs. And those who insult me are helpless themselves. They must claw the desert sand in the dark for something to satisfy their hunger. They gather tasteless shrubs for food and firewood, and they run out of towns as though they were thieves. Their only homes are ditches or holes between rocks, where they bray like donkeys gathering around shrubs. And like senseless donkeys, they are chased away. Those worthless nobodies making up jokes and songs to disgrace me. They are hateful and keep their distance, even while spitting in my direction. God has destroyed me, and so they don't care what they do. Their attacks never stop, though I am defenseless and my feet are trapped. Without any help, they prevent my escape, destroying me completely and leaving me crushed. Terror has me surrounded. My reputation and my riches have vanished like a cloud. I am sick at heart. Pain has taken its toll. Night chews on my bones, causing endless torment, and God has shrunk my skin, choking me to death. I've been thrown in the dirt, and now I'm dirt myself. I beg God for help, but there's no answer. And when I stand up, he simply stares. God has turned brutal, stirring up a windstorm to toss me about. Soon he will send me home to the world of the dead, where we all must go. No one refuses help to others when disaster strikes. I mourn for the poor and those who suffered. But when I beg for relief and light, all I receive are disaster and darkness. My stomach is tied in knots. Pain is my daily companion. Suffering has scorched my skin. In the city council, I stand and I cry out, making mournful sounds like jackals and owls. My skin is so parched that it peels right off and my bones are burning. My only songs are sorrow and sadness. I promise myself never to stare with desire at a young woman. God all-powerful punishes men who do that. In fact, God sends disaster on all who sin, and he keeps a close watch on everything I do. I am not dishonest or deceitful, and I beg God to prove my innocence. If I have disobeyed him or even wanted to, then others can eat my harvest and uproot my crops. If I have desired someone's wife and chased after her, then let some stranger steal my wife from me. If I took someone's wife, it would be a horrible crime, sending me to destruction and my crops to the flames. When my servants complained against me, I was fair to them. Otherwise, what answer would I give to God when he judges me? After all, God is the one who gave life to each of us before we were born. I have never cheated widows or others in need, and I have always shared my food with orphans. Since the time I was young, I have cared for orphans and helped widows. I provided clothes for the poor, and I raised for supplying woolen garments to those to keep warm. If I have ever raised my arm to threaten an orphan when the power was mine, I hope that arm will fall from its socket. If I could have if I could not have been abusive, I was terrified at the thought that God might punish me. I have never trusted the power of wealth or taken pride in owning many possessions. I have never openly or secretly worshipped the sun or moon. Such horrible sins would have deserved punishment from God. I have never laughed when my enemies were struck with disaster. Neither have I sinned by asking God to send on them the curse of death. No one ever went hungry at my house, and travelers were always welcome. Many have attempted to hide their sins from others, but I refused. And the fear of public disgrace never forced me to keep silent about what I had done. Why doesn't God all-powerful listen and answer? If God has something against me, let him speak up and put it in writing. Then I would wear his charges on my clothes and forehead. And with my head held high, I would tell him everything I have ever done. I have never mistreated the land I farmed and made it mourn, nor have I cheated my workers and caused them pain. If I had, I pray for weeds instead of wheat to grow in my fields. After saying these things, Job was silent. Finally, these three men stopped arguing with Job because he refused to admit that he was guilty. Elihu from Buz was there, and he had become upset with Job for blaming God instead of himself. He was also angry with Job's three friends for not being able to prove that Job was wrong. Elihu was younger than these three, and he let them speak first, but he became irritated when they could not answer Job. And he said to them, I am much younger than you, so I have shown respect by keeping silent. I once believed age was the source of wisdom. Now I truly realize wisdom comes from God. Age is no guarantee of wisdom and understanding, and that's why I ask you to listen to me. I eagerly listened to each of your arguments, but not one of you proved Job to be wrong. You shouldn't say we know what's right, like God punish him. Job hasn't spoken against me, so I won't answer him with your arguments. All of you, all of you are shocked. You don't know what to say. But am I to remain silent just because you have stopped speaking? No, I will give my opinion because I have so much to say that I can't keep quiet. I am like a swollen wineskin and I will burst if I don't speak. I don't know how to be unfair or to flatter anyone. If I did, my creator would quickly destroy me. So we see a couple of things taking place. Job, again, is misinterpreting God's silence as as a sign that God's lack of concern, that he's not paying attention. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. And then in chapter 31, we see that even beforehand, Job is laying out his case of how he hasn't been sinful. In fact, how he has gone above and beyond not to be. He said, I've made a covenant that I won't even look at a girl in a lustful way. I'm not doing it. I give to the poor. I take care of the widows. And he's making this case. He's not going to be a guy that acts inappropriately. And so he's arguing his case. And then finally in 32, the fourth friend, Elihu, speaks up. And we know Elihu is real. He gives his genealogy. Okay, so it's just a fact to the truth of what is being written. And he has been silent. He's been the silent listener through the whole thing. But now we find he's mad at everybody. He's mad at Job. He's mad at the other three friends, and he is just going to lay it out what he thinks. He's been quiet because he's been respectful, because he's the younger guy. But we're going to hear more from him in the coming chapters. And so for us, listen, Job had some non-negotiables in his life. He's going to treat people right. He's going to treat widows right. He's going to treat orphans right. He was going to welcome people in his home. He wasn't even going to look at a woman in the wrong way. You, me, we have to have non-negotiables in our life. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to look there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take care of this. Non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables for God? Have a great day.